Let me find out Condola done ghosted Issa and took the headliner with her. Anybody else think that's a coincidence? I don't either. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. You're watching Talking TV with Lex, and today we are talking Insecure Season 4, Episode 4. I don't know how we're already halfway through the season already. It feels like it just came back. It's actually making me really sad now that I think about it, but we can rejoice in the fact that we found out this week that Insecure is coming back for Season 5. Woo! So at least we have that to look forward to, even though who knows how long we're going to be on lockdown and how long that means it's going to stretch it out. But we can be happy today in knowing that our favorite show is making a comeback. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel if you don't already. And make sure you turn on those notifications so I know anytime I drop a new video. Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, we didn't get anything from Condola this episode, but what I can say is I didn't like her from the beginning, and I feel like even though we didn't get her this episode, she did something that warrants me feeling that way. For one, how are you just gonna ghost somebody, one, that you're working with? This is somebody you have a business relationship for. Y'all are 1 month away from your block party, and you're just not responding to any of her calls or text messages or anything. And then two, in addition to you ghosting her, all of a sudden the headliner pulls out. Part of me doesn't feel like that's a coincidence. Like, I'm not hearing from you, you're not helping me with anything regarding the block party, then all of a sudden all of these things are going haywire. I think Condola and Lawrence fell out because of Issa, and because she was mad about it, she sabotaged Issa's block party, which is the main reason why Molly told her not to work with her and put herself in that position. You never mix personal things with professional things. Now all of it is jumbled up together, and it may have really affected your block party. Now we don't know any of this happened, but it just seems like something like that happened. It's just too much that leads in that direction. And now all of a sudden Lawrence has something he needs to tell Issa. I wonder what that could be. It could be that him and Condola got super serious, and he said in order for them to stay serious, she had to cut off Issa. Or he told Condola that he wanted to be with Issa instead of her, and now she's mad about that, so she's not responding to Issa. Or maybe something bad happened to Condola. Maybe she had a death in the family. Maybe something happened with her ex-husband. Does she have kids? I can't remember if she has kids. Maybe something was happening with her kids. There's just something really fishy going on with Condola, and we need some answers. Because I've been saying from episode 1 that there's something about her I don't like that they're in this professional or personal relationship, and now all this stuff is going haywire. But it looks like Condola is the only one doing some shady mess behind people's back, because this whole episode was Issa and Molly going tit for tat. It's a whole competition on who's the worst friend in this bunch. Let's be clear. I think this episode has solidified that Molly and Issa's friendship might just be over. They just continue to do things and go below the belt and throw all this shade and not communicate with each other, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is exactly what happens with friendships. All of a sudden one thing feels like this huge thing. Now you're not talking to each other. They both realize that there's something wrong or off in their relationship, but it doesn't seem like anybody is putting in the real effort to really try to figure out what the problem is or try to fix the problem. They won't even have a conversation with each other. My whole thing is, if that's your true best friend, ride or die best friend, and y'all are having issues, how can you really say y'all are best friends, closer friends, when you don't even feel comfortable with each other to talk about the fact that there's an issue? Obviously they both have issues with each other. They already know it without even having to say it. They're talking to other friends about their friend problems, which is a huge sign of a problem within your friend group when you go to other friends to talk about that friend. But if you realize there's an issue there, why not just say something to each other? Like, I feel like they've been friends for so long, and their relationship really has been the fact that they're able to be honest with each other. Even if they get mad at each other, they always have been able to be honest with each other and then get right back to where they need to be. But the fact that they don't even want to talk about it just means that this is a completely different and way bigger situation. I just feel like Molly needs to pull Issa to the side, or Issa needs to pull Molly to the side and say, I feel away, I know you feel away, let's talk about why we feel away so we can stop feeling away. It makes me wonder if they even care enough about their friendship to even feel like they need to say something, because as much shade as they throw at each other, obviously they know how to speak to each other and be honest and say what they feel because they're doing it. They're throwing jabs at each other constantly in these last couple of episodes. So it's not like there's a fear of, you know, saying the wrong thing, because they've been saying the wrong thing. So it's like, okay, does that mean that they just gotten to a level in their friendship where they feel like it's not even worth the conversation? And for me, that makes me really, really sad, because that means ultimately this isn't just a friendship argument or separation. This could mean the end of a friendship altogether. And honestly, before this episode, I thought it was mainly all on Issa. I felt like she's the one who has been the worst friend in the situation. I kind of felt like some of the stuff she does is a little worse. But in this episode, it really made me hard to pick a side, because they really are just doing each other dirty at this point. And that just makes me really, really sad. I can't imagine this show without Molly and Issa. I'm going to need them to get it together, because while we're okay with watching them go on this downward spiral for a season, if they decide to end this season and they're not friends anymore and they think they're about to come back with a whole new friend group next season, I probably will still watch it, but I'm not going to be happy about it. So let's start with Molly. Molly is finally doing great at work, but so much so that she's super duper busy, and it's causing her to neglect her relationship with Andrew. But, you know, he actually seems like he's being very understanding about it. He kind of just hangs around with her until the work is done, or when she cancels on him, he's kind of been handling it with grace. So that's why I was really surprised when at their date and he told her that he had other plans after their date, how upset she got, because you know you've been canceling on him. You know there's been times that you have dates and then right after you have to go back to work. Why are you getting upset because he made other plans? Like, I get being disappointed, and yeah, it's date night. You would think that he would want to spend that time with you, but if you've been ditching him this whole time, then why be upset? So ever since the season came back, I've just been kind of saying that Issa is the terrible friend in the situation. I still think she's the worst of the two. But this episode was one where I was like, okay, Molly isn't really being a good friend either. For one, I didn't think it was cool for her to kind of just blow off their self-care Sundays. Two, I thought it was a little messed up that Molly automatically assumed that Issa was doing something shady with Lawrence. Now, Issa does messy stuff. We all know her situation with Lawrence, so I get it. But at the same time, it was wrong for her to just assume. But I can say, you know, in her being busy in her new relationship, and her being super busy at work, she's still making time to help out Tiffany. You know, she went over there and saw her that day, and she had mentioned to Issa that they were there, you know, a week before that. So I can say, in her busyness, she still seems like she's able to maintain and put in an effort into her relationships, versus Issa, who, yeah, she's working on her block party, but it seems like everything else in her life is getting neglected. She's not doing a good job at being an apartment manager, which she needs to do better on, because at this point that's the only way that she's able to live and have somewhere to call home. But she's slacking on that, so much so they don't even have water. She's slacking in her friendships. Every time that, you know, Molly and her decide to come together to try to work on their relationship, she ditches her for whatever reason. It's like Issa feels like the whole world has to stop because she finally has something going on. And that's what's been annoying me with Issa. She's just been pushing off all her friends and acting like she's so busy, neglecting other responsibilities that she has for this block party with somebody who she can't even trust, really, because they just boned off on her. She has no clue what's going on. So I think that's another issue in regards to Issa's story, is she doesn't know how to maintain everything that's going on in her life. Like, she's doing better in her career. She feels more fulfilled in that area, but everything is falling to the wayside after that. So Issa, you don't have it all together. You need to get it together, boo. Because other than this block party, which is also falling apart at this point, as soon as Condola goes away, it falls apart. I guess that goes to show that Condola was the one doing the actual work, because anything that Issa is over seems to go to shit. So it's like, obviously As you can see, I'm not really feeling Issa this season. I feel like she's being a bad friend. I feel like she's feeling herself and she's not really doing much this season. Like she did seem in the beginning like she has it all together, but really it's just this one aspect of her life that seems okay and everything else is falling to the wayside. Get it together, Issa. Speaking of all the mess in Issa's life, another item has fallen on her mess agenda, and that is Nathan. He finally reached out to her. He hit her with the super toxic nigga line of, you don't even have to call me back. You know you calling her so she can call you back. Issa's a dumb hoe, so she gonna call him back. But I'm interested to see, you know, how that dynamic is gonna be now. I feel like, you know, it's been enough time passed where maybe she can give him another chance, but maybe she really is over him. I do think, though, that maybe this is their way of trying to get Issa and Molly back on the same page, because obviously some sort of fight is about to happen. I feel like they're about to reach the peak in their anger at each other where everything's about to blow over and it's probably going to have some huge fight and they're probably going to stop being friends. And I feel like now that Molly is serious with Andrew and now that Nathan might come back in the picture for Issa, maybe it'll be them dating roommates and dating friends for them to find their way back to each other. Because it just seems like right now they both have their own things going on that they feel like they don't need each other right now. They feel like they can just neglect each other in their friendship right now. Molly's got a man. She's busy at work. Issa has her block party and she's still stunning her exes. So they're really busy with that type of stuff. So, you know, maybe it'll take them being separate, handling that, and then realizing they need each other. And maybe them coming back together is going to be because of Nathan and Andrew. So the biggest dilemma, I think, is the way that the episode ended. That's where I'm kind of going with this back and forth of I don't know who really was the worst one in the situation. On one hand, you know, Molly is Issa's friend. Molly knows how hard Issa is working on this block party. Molly knows that this is Issa's first big thing. She knows the situation. So I think for that reason, it would have been great for her to help Issa by asking Andrew if, you know, he can help her find an artist. But even though all of that is the case, and even though technically her and Molly are friends despite of what's going on, I can see why Molly said no. Issa has been blowing her off. She ain't been answering her phone calls. Everything they're supposed to do together, she hasn't been doing. You know, when they are together, she's throwing shade. As soon as we got on the phone, I was just about to tell her about what's going on with me, and she cut me off to be like, look, bruh, I ain't called to hear about your problems. I called because I need you to solve my problem. Now, if you have an issue with your friend, they blowing you off, they neglecting you, they acting like they don't give a F about y'all relationship, and then they hit you up out the blue asking you for a favor, would you do it? Don't act like you're my friend but then blow me off. Don't not answer my phone calls, not, you know, hang out with me when we make plans to hang out. Don't throw shade at me and then hit me up like everything's all good only so you can ask me for a favor. And she didn't even ask it in a nice way. Like, she could have at least listened to Molly talk about her day. She could have acted like she gave a fuck about their relationship for at least 2 minutes before getting what she needed to get. I thought that was really selfish of Issa to just be like, boom, I'm just calling not to know how your day went, but just to get what I need. That's a friend doesn't do that either. So if you're not going to act like a friend, I'm going to respond not being a friend either by not helping you out. Like I said, I was surprised she didn't help her out, but I completely get why she didn't. What I didn't get was the reason she gave Issa. I don't know if she was just bullshitting any reason because she was too scared to say what her real reason was, but for her to be like, I want to keep my two worlds separate, like, I feel like her love life has always been kind of separate. Like, aside from her telling Issa certain things, it's not like Issa was ever kicking it with her boyfriend or some guy she was dating with and like doing that caused a problem in that relationship. Like, there has been no track record of any of Molly's issues with her guys being because of Issa and because of Issa being around them. So I feel like that was a dumb reason. I feel like maybe she was just throwing something out there just for the sake of having something, but I feel like that could have been a good reason to have a real deal conversation as friends. Like, look, sis, I'm not really feeling you right now. I've been calling you, texting you, making plans with you that you've been flaking on me on, trying to be an understanding friend to you as you throw shade at me. And then you just gonna call and ask me for something after I haven't heard from you? No. You haven't been a good friend to me, and I'm not going to help you out when you're not being a good friend to me. And then that could have led to an actual conversation where they talked about all the issues they had, and they could have squashed it. And then maybe Molly would have been more likely to help her. At the end of the day, I think they want to be friends, and I think they realize there's an issue, but won't nobody say anything. And they too grown. These are 30-something-year-old women. Molly's been doing great all season with communicating how she feels to her co-workers, to Andrew. It just makes me wonder why she feels like she can't do the same thing with Issa. I think this may really be the end of their friendship. I think if it's not this episode and Molly not refusing to help her, it's going to be something, this is going to lead to something way bigger. And I think it really is going to be the end of their friendship. And I don't know if I'm okay with that. I don't know if anybody would be okay with that. But I mean, if it does happen, I guess it's just a testament to true life. You know, we all have had friends that we came up with and we thought we would be friends forever. And then you kind of just grow apart. You kind of go separate ways. It just feels like with this relationship, though, it doesn't seem like there's enough there to really feel like they need to go separate ways. But maybe they really just don't care about being friends anymore. And that does come with growing up. So maybe this season is just showing us how to be adults. You know, you can be friends with your ex and their new girlfriend, and you can fall out with your best friend and not be friends with them anymore. It's just all a part of growing up. Who do you think was more wrong in the situation? Do you think it was Molly or was it Issa? If you were in that situation, would you have helped Issa? Or if you were in Issa's situation, would you have even asked Molly? Let me know what you think below in the comments. On a positive note, Tiffany finally had her baby. Shout out to all my AKAs. I'm sure you all peeped the future AKA. Hey. I love how in, you know, having the baby, they were able to kind of sneak some really actual serious conversations in there, but slipping it in a way that felt like part of the conversation and not like they were trying to have a moment when they were talking about, you know, the issues with Black women in hospitals and when giving birth, and you know how we kind of have to speak up for ourselves and advocate for ourselves in medical places. And I think that this is not a better time to kind of have that messaging in the show than right now as we're going through everything with the coronavirus, because we see that now of how, you know, Black people are being treated with the coronavirus, and we really need as a community to advocate for ourselves and for each other when it comes to getting the help we need at hospitals and in medical practices. So I love how they snuck that in there. I love how they had the little mini conversation with Lawrence and Tiffany's husband, who for some reason's name I can't remember right now, when they were saying, you know, we do wrong things to women, not even realizing that they're somebody's daughter, and now I have a daughter and I realize how it is. And it's like, do guys have to have a daughter to realize that what they do is trash? Like, that's what it takes? Like, give all these men daughters. Maybe then they'll, you know, clean up their acts. But I love that conversation between men, and that, you know, it shows how having a child can completely change somebody's life. Also, did anybody think that Issa was going to call Daniel at some point during the show? I'm not going to lie. When she looked up local LA artists and started going through her phone, I was like, uh-oh, they about to bring back Daniel. Like, this would have been an actual time where it would have been okay for her to call him for help, unlike season 1 when she was just using him to get some studio dick. Let's just be real about it. So I really thought that she was gonna, you know, put on her hey big head and call Daniel for some help, but she stayed strong. She stayed strong in that area. She stayed strong. So that wraps up the episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love this show and I love talking about it with you. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the episode and what you think about the season so far. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe and turn on those notifications if you don't already. I'll see you in the next review video. Bye, guys.